Pleased to be joined now by the Mayor of the City of Winnipeg, Brian Bowman. Brian, it's a thrill to have you here. I think if we can get the mayor, people are going to watch this show, so we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I'm glad you think that.
I got to ask you about some football stuff here, obviously. Did you have a personal connection to the game growing up? Did you watch the CFL? Did you play the sport?
I might surprise you. I was not a linebacker, but you know what? I have been going for years. My wife and I are avid football fans. We went to school out in Toronto when we were thinking about moving back. She wanted to stay a couple more years in Toronto, and ultimately she said the condition upon moving back at the time that we did in '99 wasn't conditional on getting married. We were single at the time. It was season tickets to the Bombers forever. And so we've been season ticket holders since 1999, and we've been going with our boys, and it is very much part of our family DNA.
And the CFL really has that reputation of being that exciting game, right? The Grey Cup itself is such a great slice of Canadiana. Do you have a favorite Grey Cup memory when you look at years past?
Well, I mean, I think back to the obviously the 80s and the 1990 win. That was an incredible period of time, which we will relive again, hopefully sooner than later. I know it's been a struggle for fans since then, but you know, I would say those are probably my best memories of football. I met Willard Reeves actually back in, it was probably the late 80s. So I was a teenager at the time, probably mid 80s when he was at the height. And I remember he came out to where my mom's family is from. They're from Victoria Beach, and I remember he came out there for some charity event, and he taught me how to catch a football. And I'll never forget the fact that he took time out to show me how to properly catch a football. I wish I had retained some of it, but you know, it's that sort of personal connection that the Bombers have continued that tradition of being active and involved in the community, and it's something that really makes us stronger as a city.
It's expected that 10,000 people are going to visit the city of Winnipeg over the next few days for the Grey Cup. From an economic standpoint, what does that do for a city?
Well, I mean, it's huge. The numbers I'm hearing are actually much more significant than that in terms of the number of visitors we're expecting. But definitely for the visitors that are coming into town, they're spending money on, you know, retail. They're spending money at restaurants. They're staying in hotels, and they're participating and taking part of the vibrancy that is Winnipeg's arts, culture, and entertainment scene. And so, you know, I think as people come to Winnipeg, they see what a beautiful community we have, what a vibrant arts and culture scene that we have. And we know that when people come to Winnipeg, they often come back. And so this is a great investment in building our own capacity to bring in even more events like this and bigger events like this, like the 2017 Canada Summer Games.
Weather has been a huge factor in Grey Cup games in the past. Do you like when the elements come into play like that, or for Sunday, are you hoping for a clear sky, not so cold type of night?
Well, my toes want it to be warm, but my heart wants it to be cold. I like it when the elements are there. It's part of the tradition of the game, whether it's the Fog Bowl or the Mud Bowl. I mean, you look back at some of those classic games, and it was really the weather and the elements that really made it memorable. And so Canadians are tough, CFL fans are tough. It doesn't matter if you're from, you know, either of the coasts. You know, when people come out for the CFL game, they're ready for it. And you know what? If it increases our hot chocolate sales, so be it.
Fall Out Boy was chosen as the halftime performance for this year's Grey Cup here in Winnipeg. Let's say Fall Out Boy was unavailable. If you could choose Brian Bowman, who would play at the halftime show, who would it be?
Well, it'd probably be Van Halen.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if Eddie Van Halen or David Lee Roth have time right now, but you know, the Sheepdogs I know are performing as part of the festival. I'm a huge Sheepdogs fan. You know, you can't go wrong with BTO or the Guess Who. I mean, you know, I look at Prairie Town. It's one of my favorite local songs, and so there's a lot to choose from in terms of Canadian artists and local artists. But I'm a personal Van Halen fan, so I'd say Van Halen.
Thank you very much, Brian. We really appreciate the time.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.